Hi there, and welcome to Still Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Fortune Fowle, and if you're new here, welcome to a space that's all about progression, not perfection. The fact that we are becoming people, which means we have not arrived at who we're meant to be yet, but we are just getting to our destination. And so I invite you into this space and happy Still Learning Monday. Hi, guys. I hope that your day, your week, your month, everything is off to such a great start. I am doing really well today. And to be quite honest, I've been doing really well the last week and a half, just feeling so much happiness, so much joy of the Lord has just been oozing out of me, and just happy to be living life. Like, truly, life is beautiful despite all the chaos that can be going on around us. Like, life is beautiful. There's always something to be grateful about in each and every single day. Grateful for life, grateful for my friends, my family. So I'm just trying to really cherish and live in every single moment of the day. And I think just as I get older, and though I am still pretty young, like in my head, guys, I'm very much a baby, I realize that what comes with feeling more joyous and more happier with life is simply not caring. And let me expand on that. Not just not caring about people, but just not caring about opinions or holding as much weight to opinions as you once did. And I truly think that this is something that I'm going to even grow more better at doing as I get older, because I hear that once you hit your 30s, like, you really don't care about other people's opinions or what people think about you. So that is actually one of the things I'm looking forward to as I get older, to just stop caring less about how I am perceived and stop allowing that to affect how I live and carry out my life and how I show up. And not that I'm currently doing that now, but I would be lying if I said that it wasn't still a struggle, so something I dealt with, if I didn't sometimes wonder how I'm perceived or how people take me, and that doesn't sometimes influence what I do or what I say. And there can be pros and cons to that as well, because it's not that you should absolutely not allow other people to have a say in your life or not take other people's words or thoughts or ideas into consideration. But there's definitely a level of wisdom and a measure that you should have for it. And I definitely think that when I was younger, the weight that other people's thoughts and opinions had of me weighed substantially more than what I thought of myself and even what God thought of me. And as I am getting older and learning to let go of that, and that just not being such a prevalent thing in my life as much anymore, it did make me want to come here today and have a conversation with you guys of how I'm growing out of that and what I'm doing and how I even got to this point, because I definitely think it's something that people in general struggle with, right? Being perceived, what people think of you. And I feel like we hear so many different combinations of this in the world now, such as performative man, pick me girl, like all those things. And how do you just navigate that? Because I definitely think that everyone has their era. Like, every man and woman has their era of being a pick me, of being a performative person. I mean, I'm guilty of doing that. And if you think you've never done that, then you are lying to yourself. Like, everyone has that point in time where it feels like you just want to please and live for the world and for other people. I mean, you're human and it makes sense. You want to be accepted, you want approval, because who doesn't want to be accepted? Who doesn't want to be approved? Who doesn't want to feel liked? Who doesn't want to feel like I'm finally chosen first? And so when we are going through these things in life, it can be really easy to allow that to kind of influence who we are and how we show up. So I thought it'd be really good to have this conversation here today and just really talk about how I once went from living for the male gaze and now living for God's gaze. And when I say male gaze, I'm not just talking about exclusively the male sex or male gender. Like, I am talking about people, the world, culture, society, like learning to no longer live for that and just live for God, the one true living God, because honestly, The author and finisher of my story is who's should really get the final say over my life and who I should hold the highest weight to what I think. Like, God's word should be final and beginning in my life, should be the start and the end of my entire life, and what holds the greatest weight for me in terms of how I live and who I am and what I do, not the world, not people, because I'm living for him at the end of the day, no one else, not even myself. So how did I even get to that point? Because it's not easy. It's actually quite hard to get to that point, especially when you're constantly living in the world and interacting with things that kind of reaffirm this idea of living for society and culture and other people. I definitely know for me that when I was in middle school, going into high school, I really struggled with male validation. I mean, I was a pick me. I'm going to say that right here, right now. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not ashamed to say that. Like I said earlier, everyone has that phase, has that era of where they're a pick me. Now, I will give myself a little credit here. I wasn't like an extreme pick me, but I definitely was boy crazy and wanted to be validated by males, by boys in my life. And I think a part of that started with middle school, with me growing up, the chubbier friend, the dark skinned friend, and you're seeing all your lighter skinned friends who are very much skinny being the popular ones, being the ones invited to their parties, being the ones that your crushes end up liking. All those things subconsciously reinforce in this idea that I'm not enough, or there's something wrong with me. It's gets very complex, especially when you're that young and so malleable. You really are just so malleable and so sensitive to everything around you, and you pick up so many things like a sponge. You don't have the words or the language to even process or really understand what it means or how it's impacting you. You just know that you're upset, or you just know that you feel some way, but you can't even explain it until you're older, and it's coming out in how you dress and what you say and who you hang out with. It manifests in such a way that you, when you're younger, don't even realize that you were internalizing this. So for me, I definitely think it started there. And I mean, TV, media, Disney Channel, all the things were just reinforcing this idea that it's better to be lighter and skinny. That's it. And that is the standard, the beauty standard. And if you don't fit the beauty standard, well, you need to do everything you can to contort yourself into that beauty standard. I remember when that thigh gap trend was going around, and I was like, how old? Maybe, I want to say maybe 9 or 10, trying to get a thigh gap. That was actually sickening. Like who allowed me to be doing that? Because why was I trying to get a thigh gap at 9, 10 years old? Also, what did a thigh gap do for anyone? Like, well, what does it do for anyone to have a thigh gap besides prevent chafing? That's like the only bro that I can think about. But very much that I was so hyper fixated on that. Like, what was going on? What was the world saying that was right, that was pretty, that was good? Like, I want to be whatever that is, because I want to be accepted. I want to be like, I want to be cool. And so going into my high school years, when I like lost the baby weight, your girl is looking a little bit cuter, grew into my features a bit more, still look like a baby, but definitely is growing into them. And I felt like I was a hot girl. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I thought that I was a hot girl. I thought I was Megan Thee Stallion. Like, I very much, the way I would dress, and this isn't a modesty conversation, but I definitely think that modesty isn't just what you wear, but your heart posture behind what you wear. And for me during this time, the way I was dressing was very much to get the attention of boys and to be like desirable and to have that sex appeal. And again, I don't know why I wanted those things at the ripe age of 14, 15. Like, what I don't know what was transpiring through my mind at that time. All I just knew is that this is finally my time to be the one who's chosen and picked out. It's finally my time. And so I'd wear very much clothing that's more skin tight, revealing, like show a cleavage. And not too much, because at the end of the day, I still grew up in an African household and my mom would be quick to snatch me up. But I won't lie and say that I was that kid who wear like that big oversized jacket, and then once they got to school took it off and there was like a little skimpy top underneath. Like that was me in high school. And it was because I just wanted that attention. Like I wanted to be the one that I sought after, and that was a slippery slope because it didn't do what I thought it would do. It didn't do the thing where I thought, finally, I'm going to be the girl that guys want to date. I may not be light skinned, but I am, the shape that's currently trending. I lost the weight. I'm like cute, like I'm smart. Like this is finally my time. And I didn't end up becoming the girl that guys want to date. I ended up becoming the girl that guys wanted to sleep with. Like that became the thing. And I was getting attention from older guys, and I thought that was cute. That's not cute, guys. Not cute. Not cute at all. Scary. Scary, actually. I was getting attention from older guys, and I just felt so like I thought I made it. I thought I made it. And I don't even realize then that there was still a hole. I still didn't feel filled. Like I still struggled with insecurities. Like I would still think that if a guy was interested in me, oh, does he like a dark skinned girl? Like those were still things that I was thinking about. And I hate that that was even a thought process in my head. Like, oh, is he into a dark skinned girl? Like the fact that that was a fear, insecurity, or thought, disgusting. But that was also during the time of that rhetoric of, oh, she's pretty for a dark skin. And I had guys actually say that to me during this time, which is even crazier to think about now. And I look back on that time, I'm like, what are we talking about here? But for me, it was like, oh, like I'm the exception. Oh, you like me? Oh, like you want me? But it wasn't for the best reasons. And it didn't feel that whole, it didn't make me feel valued. It didn't make me feel seen. Like it felt like I kept on having to act and perform a certain way and dress a certain way to keep that attention. And it wasn't healthy for me at all. It didn't allow me to really value myself, and it didn't allow me to actually put any more value to who I was as a person, more value on my physical and outer exterior than what was actually going on in my heart. And if I paid more attention to what was going on in my heart, I would recognize that there still is that hole. I still don't feel seen like I thought I would. I still don't feel necessarily chosen in the way that I thought I would be. Like you're talking to me, but you're talking to me in hopes of getting in my pants. And I don't do that around here. And so it was this weird, and I don't want to say weird thing. It honestly, I have a lot more grace for my younger self when I think about that time. And I don't blame her. I really don't blame her because that was all that was around her. I remember in high school, there was these girls in my grade who put together a YouTube channel, and they would go around asking people questions throughout the school. And there was one particular video of theirs that blew up. I mean, it blew up, not just in our school, but just blew up on the internet. And it was dark skin versus light skin conversation. And even just talking about this now gets me heated because it just speaks to that time of where it was just so polarizing, and society was so constructed in a way to diminish the worth and value of not just Black women, but specifically dark-skinned women. And that is still something that happens now, but I was so hyper aware of it during that time and age and so sensitive to it, and I felt so fragile about it. And I'm so grateful that I grew up in a household with a mother and with a father who were so affirming of my skin tone, because my mother is dark skinned like me, my father was lighter skin, but my mother was so like loving, and so like your skin is beautiful, and constantly reinforced that to me from a young age. And she grew up in Nigeria and around people where bleaching culture is a thing, where people would bleach their skin to get lighter, who would stay out of the sun. And My mother never carried that rhetoric or that idea onto me and my sisters. I'm so grateful. So shout out to my mom. So grateful for her just reinforcing that and instilling that within me. So despite all this rhetoric and what people were saying about dark-skinned girls and online and media and what I was even experiencing in my own reality, I never hated my skin tone. It was never something that I saw as a disadvantage for me. It was never something I saw that wasn't beautiful. And I really, again, goes back to how my parents were and raised me to really honor and appreciate the skin tone and the color that I'm within. But that wasn't the case for everyone, because in this video, light skin versus dark skin, you had all these boys. And guys, again, I'm really trying to like tell you without getting upset, but I viscerally feel myself, my heart rate increasing, my blood pressure increasing as I talk about this, because they were literally, it was just a video of them belittling dark skinned girls. I'm not gonna lie. And it was the fact that they were saying this as one of the girls interviewing them was a dark skinned girl. Like, do you have no shame? Do you have no decorum? It was such disgusting rhetoric, like, oh, like, I don't want to date a dark skinned girl because I like it. I'm trying to find a very PG-13 kid way to say this. I'm just gonna point down there, pink. Are we actually well? Are we well? Are we well? Like, in that, and it wasn't just one guy, multiple boys and people speaking this kind of rhetoric. And I'm just like, are we all living the same boat? I even remember one time on the bus, this guy was talking about Deja Loaf, and he's like, yeah, she's pretty for a dark skinned girl. And the way all of the girls on the bus like turned and looked at him sideways, and he actually couldn't understand why we did that. He was like, what? Like, he was actually baffled by the fact that there was clearly a problem with the statement that he made, but he couldn't understand why it was wrong to say that. But that was really what I was growing up around. So I can't imagine what that did to my psyche when I was younger, and my self-esteem, and only further fueled my desire to be validated. And I realized that I was living by trends. Like, because the story ended up changing, guys, because now we live in a time where models like Anakia, who are dark skinned, a lot more Sudanese models are dominating the modeling industry, and we're seeing more curvier models and mid-size and plus size models, because then we just started seeing a shift from just being skinny and light skinned to now we're seeing more brown skin, darker skinned women being celebrated. And I definitely think there's a correlation to that with the rise of Afro beats as well, but we're seeing that being more celebrated, more like, oh, she's so beautiful, she's stunning, and the Ryan Destinies of the world, and the Justine Skies of the world, right? Because Justine Sky, she was huge on Tumblr in 2016, 2017, 2018, and very much we're seeing that kind of shift back. And so as that is happening, you go from this rhetoric of like where you're kind of shunning dark-skinned women to now you're glorifying dark-skinned women, with exceptions. I definitely want to say that there was definitely exceptions, because you still had to have certain Eurocentric, big quotation marks around that, Eurocentric features, and to be deemed beautiful by societal standards. And now you're getting people like Ashley Graham, Paloma, who are curvier models on the scene. And so now we're seeing the rise of a curvier shape and bigger bosoms and tiny waists, and it's changing. It's constantly evolving and changing. And I kept on trying to contort, conform, and fit that mold of whatever was trending and whatever society was saying was beautiful during that time, only for me to realize that I was treating myself as a trend. And a lot of us are guilty of doing that, of treating ourselves as if we are trends. So whatever is trending, we become. If it's a BBL, I'm getting a BBL. And this isn't me like body shaming, plastic surgery shaming, nothing like that. It's just the truth. Now we're in a time where it's back to being skinny, and real skinny, thick skinny. And so now people are like, okay, I'm going to lose like 50 pounds, 60 pounds, done with the bulking. Because remember, we used to be bulking all the time, be doing the weightlifting. Like girls were in the gym getting buff, and girls still in the gym getting buff, but now we're doing Pilates. Now we're doing soft girl workouts. Now I just want to be toned. Like it's literally constantly a trend, and we fall guilty of treating ourselves, our bodies, our characters to a trend, and that we lose our identity. We actually don't have one. We just follow whatever is trending. And when I caught myself in that loop, I was like, we have to break this cycle, because I'm actually killing myself trying to keep up. I'm killing myself trying to keep up. I'm never feeling secure in who I am. I have no set awareness or self-assurance or confidence in myself. I don't even have a personal identity in terms of my clothing, in terms of what I even like and don't like. Like I'm just following whatever the world is telling me. Like you go with the wind all the time. And I began to really lock in on that once the pandemic came around, because it was just me. It really was just me. And in that time, because that was also the time where I really started locking in on the Bible, furthering, deepening my relationship with God. Like that was the first time I really was like, oh, I have all this time in the world on my hands. Let me actually start reading the Bible and I really know what this says. And so as I was growing in my relationship with God, my identity started being revealed to me. And I began to realize my identity is in Christ. And I began to understand that, whoa, I'm not living for the world. So that means I'm not living for society. I'm not living for a beauty standard. The only person who should be setting the standards I live by is God. And so now I'm completely reevaluating, and my mind is being renewed and my heart transformed during this process. And I start experimenting and figuring out what I like and what fits me. And I stop wanting to seek the validation of men. And I'm like, no, God, I don't need to do that actually, because I already am validated, seen, and chosen by you. I was waiting for someone to choose me, a friend, a guy. I was waiting to finally be chosen by someone, when this whole entire time I had been chosen by the God of the universe, the ultimate being chosen. Like I didn't have to do anything to be picked by you. You picked me before I even picked you. You chose me before I even chose you. You loved me before I even loved you. And when I came to understand that reality, that truth, I was like, oh, there is no way I can continue to live for the gaze of man, when you literally tell me I am the apple of your eye, God. Your gaze has always been on me. It has never left me. And now I get to discover the truth and the beauty of who I am through the one who's always behold me in his gaze. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful gift to be so treasured by the Lord. Oh, I simply cannot be living for man anymore. There's actually no choice in this. And me doing that, I realized all that living by a man's standard, the beauty standard, the world's gaze, all I did was reduce my self-worth. It reduced my understanding of who I am. It caused me to live in a lost identity, to actually have no identity at all, just to be flip-floppity, flip-floppity, flip-flop, like all the time. It made me more insecure. It never filled the void that I was having in my heart. No, only Jesus was only able to fill that. And so when I realized that the male gaze held no benefit to me at all, I couldn't tell you a pro to living for the male gaze. I couldn't tell you a pro for living for the world. I just listed off to you guys all the negatives that it did for me. It made me so much more unconfident and uncomfortable within my own skin and feeling like I was never enough. But when I finally turned my eyes on the one whose eyes were always on me, God's gaze never left me. It was about me meeting his gaze in return. I kept looking to the gaze of the world, to the gaze of men that could care less, wasn't even paying attention to me, couldn't even see me for who I was, couldn't even tell me who I am. And when I finally looked up at the one who could, that changed my life. Who I am now is brilliant and beautiful and creative and talented, because those are all the things he gifted and placed inside of me. And I'm discovering them every day with him, and I'm growing them, and I'm living them out, and I'm learning to be such a beautiful human being because that's how he created me to be. And the world would have never taught me that. Living by a person's gaze or standards would have never caused me to reach this point of myself ever. It took so much away from me, but living for God's gaze gave me everything. I no longer feel this pressure to be perceived. And when I do, because like I told you guys, I'm not perfect at this yet. I still struggle from time to time, especially when we live in a very social media era. And everyone, there's more eyes on you than there should be. Like there's so much more eyes on you than there should be, and you are receiving so much more rhetoric about different standards and how people should live. It's still something that I could struggle with. But one of the things that's also helped me is on my personal account, I've turned off the like count and the ability to comment and the ability to see my views. Some might be like, why would you do that? Well, I did that because I realized that the likes and the comments, I started using them as a metric to measure myself and my worth. If a picture or post didn't get as many likes as the previous one, then I will start questioning myself. And I didn't like that. I fully wanted my social media to just be something that I post what I want to post, right? I post what makes me happy. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I don't want to be posting based on how other people are going to perceive me. I want to be completely and totally authentic to who I am, authentic to the person God has created me to be. And yes, that means sometimes my social medias, I might post things that might have been an error or might have been like, eesh, girl, you should not post that. But I'll learn for that eventually. But I realized that I started holding a lot more weight to it, so I turned it off. And it was one of the best decisions I could have done. And honestly, I recommend that if you are someone you're just catching yourself where this is starting to become a thing that is impacting my self-esteem and how I view myself, and I'm starting to seek external validation from this when all of that validation I should receive is from God, I do recommend doing that. But this is how I'm also protecting my heart and guarding my heart from this because, like I said, I'm not perfect at this yet, but every single day reminding myself and keeping my eyes on the one whose eyes have never left me have truly been one of the ways, has truly been instrumental in me being able to live for God's gaze and not male's gaze, to stop seeking male validation, to stop seeking friend validation, to stop seeking family validation, and to ensure that I am fully validated by the one who created me. And I am. And it's a process. It's not easy. But I'm just grateful that God continues to walk with me through it each and every single day. You're never going to satisfy or fit the world or beauty standards. It's constantly changing. And it never takes you into consideration. Be authentic to who you are and who God created you to be. I promise you, it's so beautiful and so much greater than whatever the world can tell you or people can tell you you are. Go to the one who actually made you, because he will tell you everything about you. And you'll be able to be in this journey of discovering just how beautiful it truly is. And so I really hope that if you're someone who struggled with this, like I have, and many of us have, know that you're not alone, but also know that you don't have to do that anymore. You can fully be authentically who you are, and who you are is such a beautiful thing. And your identity in Christ is far greater than any identity the world can ever give you. And so I would love to hear down in the comments ways that you guys are able to kind of break out of seeking validation from other people, external validation, and find that security and confidence within yourself. But I hope that you guys enjoyed today's conversation of Still Learning, and I will see you next week for another episode. Bye.